I found the weirdest 80s Christmas movies almost nobody talks about. One cost as much as Back to the Future and bombed at the box office, another stars Drew Barrymore and Keanu Reeves before they were famous, and Disney made one so dark I can't believe it's rated G. Let's see if you remember any of these, and if you do, you're probably Gen X. If you grew up in the 80s, there's a good chance you remember watching Santa Claus the movie on TV at Christmas. Except it wasn't a TV movie. It had a theatrical release, and it cost $50 million. In 1985, that was an absolutely insane amount of money for a Christmas movie. Back to the Future came out that same year for $19 million. The Goonies cost about the same. Both of those became cultural phenomena. Santa Claus the movie made back less than half its budget and then basically disappeared. The people behind it were the Salkinds, who just made Supergirl. They brought in the same director, the guy who did Jaws 2. I always assumed it was some cheap thing ITV threw on at Christmas Eve. Turns out it was one of the most expensive movies of 1985 that nobody wanted to see. The first hour is actually pretty magical if you're a kid. It's Santa's origin story and it works. Then it jumps to the 1980s and falls apart completely. John Lithgow's in it as the villain and he's going absolutely bonkers, which is fun. And Dudley Moore plays an elf for about 5 minutes total. But the real mystery is where $50 million went, because watching it now, you can't figure it out. Babes in Toyland came out a year later in 1986, and this one I'm pretty sure actually was a TV movie. NBC aired it once in December, then it showed up on VHS in 1991, and that was it. The only reason anyone remembers it now is because of who's in it. 11-year-old Drew Barrymore, fresh off E.T., and Keanu Reeves, before Bill and Ted, looking like an actual baby. One of his first roles. Pat Morita's in it too, couple years after Karate Kid. They filmed it in Munich, which seems like overkill for a TV movie, but whatever. The plot's forgettable. Girl goes to Toyland, has to stop a bad guy from taking over. There's a message about grief and not letting it ruin your life. It's not good. But if you're into seeing young Keanu Reeves before he became Keanu Reeves, it's worth a watch for that reason alone. Otherwise, it's one of those things that aired once and everyone forgot about it. Trading Places is a completely different situation because it's actually great. It's just that nobody thinks of it as a Christmas movie. Eddie Murphy's second film. Dan Aykroyd at his peak. Jamie Lee Curtis, directed by John Landis, who went on to do Coming to America and Beverly Hills Cop 3 with Murphy after this. Murphy said years later that making Trading Places was the most fun he ever had on a set, and everything after that felt like work. The story's built around this bet between two rich brothers who want to test nature versus nurture. So they take Aykroyd's character, this privileged stockbroker, and destroy his life by framing him as a criminal. Then they take Eddie Murphy's character, a street hustler, and elevate him to Aykroyd's old position, just to see what happens. The movie's sharp and funny in a way most comedies aren't. Aykroyd makes his character just snobby enough that you enjoy watching him fall at first, but then he shows real depth as the character develops. And Murphy's doing some of his best work. He's never been funnier than he is in this. Bill Murray plays Frank Cross, youngest network president in TV history. The guy spent so much time watching television that his favorite memories are opening credits from shows. At one point, someone tells him garden slugs got more out of life than he did. Murray's perfect for this because Frank Cross needs that sarcastic, caustic delivery. This is a modern Scrooge story, and Murray just nails it. Frank's the kind of guy who would happily spend 15 years on his ass watching TV if nobody stopped him. Then one night, a disgruntled ex-employee shows up with a shotgun, keeps missing Frank's heart while reloading, and somehow this leads to Frank actually finding his heart and changing his life. The movie's a feel-good thing, similar to Groundhog Day, another Murray movie where a guy learns to be less of an asshole. It updates A Christmas Carol into a pretty solid comedy. Funny thing though, Murray and director Richard Donner actually hated each other. Murray said they disagreed every single minute of every day. He said the script was good, they could have made a really great movie, but they shot it so fast it was like doing it live. So all that warmth on screen came from pure spite, apparently. TV special from 1987. If you're Gen X, you probably had this on VHS. It's stop-motion clay animation and it still looks good, which is kind of insane. Will Vinton produced and directed it, did it frame by frame. Two dinosaurs named Rex and Herb host a Christmas choral celebration in a small town made entirely out of clay. The California Raisins show up and do Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. That version was actually the Temptations singing, but they didn't get credited. It aired on TV when we were kids and became this yearly thing. Then stations stopped showing it and it disappeared for a while. The music's great, the animation holds up, it's funny, and actually has Christmas spirit. Only problems are the sound quality from the original broadcast, and it's only 24 minutes long. But if you remember it from childhood, it's worth tracking down. Disney made some weird shit in the 80s. Sometimes really dark stuff that you watch now and can't believe it's Disney. One Magic Christmas is about a woman who doesn't believe in Christmas. So an angel kills her husband and has her kids kidnapped to teach her a lesson. When she finally believes in Christmas again, she gets them back. The movie is this string of nightmare scenarios. Husband gets murdered, kids die in car crashes, Santa's toys are built by dead people, not elves. They cast Harry Dean Stanton as the angel, which should have been a warning sign. It's trying so hard to be heartwarming and it ends up being the most miserable Christmas movie ever made. The thing is, it's well made, good acting, decent direction, but it's all building toward misery. There's no way this should be rated G. It's dreary and sad for most of the runtime, looks like a 70s drama instead of a Christmas special. Not for kids at all. But it's on Disney Plus now if you want to revisit it. There's this kid's book from 1972 about the worst kids in town taking over a church Christmas pageant. ABC made it into a TV movie in 1983. The author, Barbara Robinson, actually wrote the script herself, which is good because at least it wasn't some network writer who'd never read the book. Loretta Sweet from MASH plays a woman who gets stuck directing her church's Christmas pageant. Everything's fine until the Herdman kids show up. These are the local nightmare children. They're destructive, they swear, they're just terrors. And they don't just crash the pageant, they take every lead role. Kids today watch this and think it looks cheap. And yeah, it does. But if you saw it in 1983, there's something about it. I didn't even know they remade it in 2024 until I looked this up. The original's still worth watching if you remember it. Jacqueline Smith plays a woman whose husband is running oil drilling operations near the North Pole. One day an elf shows up at their door. His name is Ed, he's played by Paul Williams, and he's there to tell them that the oil company's dynamite is about to blow up Santa's village. So this woman and her daughters get taken to the North Pole to meet Santa, who's played by Art Carney. And Carney's really good as Santa. He's warm, he's believable in this sort of old-fashioned way. This was actually the third time he played Santa. He did it in a Twilight Zone episode, then with the Muppets, and this was his last time. The whole plot is they have to convince this oil tycoon to stop blowing things up at one drilling site and move to a different site that already has oil. People who saw it as kids say it was magical. People who watch it now say it's boring or low budget. But the premise is so ridiculous that it's kind of great. It's so earnest about the whole thing. Dolly Parton movie. She's at peak Dolly here, looks amazing, great music, just radiating warmth. And get this, it was directed by Henry Winkler. The Fonz directed a Dolly Parton Christmas movie. Dolly plays a country star who's burned out and hides in a cabin in the Smoky Mountains. She finds 7 orphaned kids living in the woods. It's basically Snow White, but Christmas. There's a paparazzi guy chasing her, there's a mountain witch, there's Lee Majors as a woodsman who helps her. It all builds to Dolly and Lee Majors dressing up as Santa to break the kids out of an orphanage. Dolly wrote the story and produced it. She put several of her own songs in it. The Smoky Mountains look beautiful even on a TV budget. Henry Winkler brought his friends. John Ritter has a cameo as a judge. Ron Howard's parents are in it. The acting's not great. The sets are simple. But Dolly's just so warm that it works. Just cozy and wholesome. November 1988, the third Ernest movie came out. By this point, Ernest was already a thing. Kids thought he was hilarious. This one has Ernest as a cab driver in Louisiana who picks up an old guy. Turns out it's Santa Claus. But Santa's getting forgetful and he needs to retire, so he's looking for a replacement. He's picked this guy Joe, a former kids TV host who actually cares about children. So Ernest has to help Santa break out of jail and stop Joe's agent from convincing him to quit. The movie made $28 million, highest grossing Ernest film ever. Critics, of course, hated it, called it loud and stupid. And it was loud and stupid. That's what Ernest movies were. You didn't go in expecting Citizen Kane. It was for 8-year-olds. If you were a kid in 1988, you probably loved it. In 1988, CBS did a Brady Bunch reunion special just in time for Christmas. The show had been off the air for 14 years at that point, but they got almost everyone back. Robert Reed, Florence Henderson, all 6 kids as adults. Only person missing was Susan Olsen, who played Cindy because she was on her honeymoon, so they got someone else. Mike and Carol Brady blow their vacation money to fly their kids home for Christmas. All 6 of them, plus their spouses and children. Everyone's got some boring adult problem, but by the end there's this ridiculous Christmas miracle moment and everything's fine. 22.7 million homes watched it, second highest rated show that week. 19 years after the original series, and people still cared enough about the Bradys to watch a TV movie about them having generic midlife problems. The acting here is honestly not great. The dialogue's cheesy, the ending's kind of laughable. But for people who grew up with the Brady Bunch, seeing everyone back together is enough. This one nobody remembers. 23-minute animated special from Canada. Aired on CBC back in 1988, showed up on the Disney Channel a year later. It's about this young, clumsy elf who gets ignored by the other elves on Christmas Eve. Santa leaves without him. The little elf accidentally ends up on the sleigh anyway and secretly delivers toys around the world. Old-fashioned kids cartoon. Aired on TV just a couple of times, maybe you saw it on VHS. It's somewhere on YouTube now, so you can check it out again. Jim Henson made this TV special about toys that come to life when nobody's looking. There's a toy tiger named Rugby who's terrified he's going to get replaced by whatever new toy shows up on Christmas morning. So he hides in a present box, accidentally releases this alien queen toy, and all the other toys have to fix the mess before the kids wake up. It sounds familiar because Toy Story used this exact same setup 9 years later. The Christmas Toy aired once on ABC and then basically vanished. It didn't come out on VHS until the 90s. So if you didn't record it that night, you just didn't see it again for years. A lot of kids watched it once, remembered loving it, and then spent years searching for it. Then Toy Story comes out and becomes this massive phenomenon. Oscars, sequels, merchandising empire, and the Christmas toy is just gone. You mention it to people and they have no idea what you're talking about. Henson did it first, and nobody remembers. This one was huge when it aired in 1987. Jim Henson threw every Muppet property he owned into one special. The regular Muppets, all the Sesame Street characters, the Fraggles. Just crammed them all into Fozzie's mom's house for Christmas Eve. At the end, Jim Henson walks on camera with Kermit and they sing together. 19 million people watched it. That's massive for a TV special, but it was basically a one-time thing. You watched it that night or you taped it and that was it for years. Luckily for us, now it's on YouTube with all the original 80s commercials still in there. And honestly, those commercials make it even better because that's what it felt like. Sitting there watching TV on Christmas night, that whole experience. Prancer came out in actual theaters in 1989. Sam Elliott plays this widowed farmer in Michigan who's about to lose his farm. His 8-year-old daughter finds an injured reindeer and decides it's Prancer from Santa's sleigh. She starts taking care of it in secret. Elliott's character thinks she's delusional. His wife just died, the farm's failing, he's barely holding things together. He doesn't have the energy to deal with his daughter's fantasy about a magic reindeer. The movie's really about this father and daughter who can't connect. It made some money but never became a big hit. came and went pretty quickly, but people who saw it remembered it, especially the ending. Prancer should have become a holiday classic, but it didn't. Maybe it was too sad. People wanted something lighter for Christmas, but it's worth finding.